Let me tell you about the beautiful Mediterranean island I had never heard of. This is Ustica. It's a place known for diving and artists, and, perplexingly, for an unsolved fatal airplane crash that has become known as the Ustica massacre. More on that later. It has a 10-kilometer circumference and a population of 1,300. It has a tiny harbor and a town decorated in murals and some incredible underwater landscapes. Let me show you.
I'm Aladino. I'm both Swiss and Italian and a boat builder by profession.
And I'm Maya, a Canadian artist and sailor. This is our home, Magic Carpet. She's a Vinda 32, though she's only 28 feet long. And 4 years ago, she fell 20 feet off a crane onto concrete. Insurance wrote her off, but Aladino bought her, fixed her, and now she's our home. Our mission? To sail around the world as slowly as possible.
When we arrived in Ustica after our peaceful crossing from Sardinia, we decided to anchor on a shallow section a bit offshore from the island.
And that one point that we passed over, we'll drop it there. What do you guys think?
Sounds good?
Yeah.
We dropped the anchor on a slab of solid rock. Not the best holding ground, but it'll work for an afternoon of snorkeling. The sun was hot and there still wasn't much breeze, so we wasted no time with jumping in and marveling at what we found there. The reef rose straight out of the ocean's depths. Its cliffs plummeted downwards into the abyss, a mysterious deep blue. Little reef fish crowded around, looking like stars or confetti decorating the water. Seaweeds and algae clung to the rock.
What a beautiful place. Whew. And I've never noticed something like there's quite the current in the water, so whenever you pop up and you go like, oh, I gotta go down there again, there was a sea bass in that crack, and then you look down and you're somewhere completely different. Wild. Nice. Oh, I've never seen so many crazy nice big fish in the med. Oh, so cool.
The rest of the afternoon passed by lazily. I worked on editing videos and the others spent time relaxing and swimming. But eventually the sun began to fall low in the sky and we had to figure out where we'd be spending the night.
We got distracted. We had a fantastic full day of diving after arriving here. But now it's about time to look for an anchorage, so we approached the island, which is very close from the reef, and we've dropped the anchor just like 30 meters from shore, and our anchor chain wouldn't touch the bottom because those volcanic places are just crazy. They come straight out of nowhere. So since our anchor didn't touch, we thought it would be safer to have a look if they have a place in the harbor. We are directed towards the harbor right now and we'll see if we can stay there for the night.
We called the harbor, but we were informed it was full. There was only one spot available, but would have to leave by 7 a.m. the next morning because the dive boats used that spot. We agreed, and then entered the harbor and maneuvered in. It's always a bit difficult backing into a narrow spot with a full keel boat that doesn't reverse in a straight line, but Aladino did an amazing job. The only way to do it is to reverse, allow the boat to twist as it does, and then just when you're about to hit the boat next to you, you put it into forward and straighten up. Then reverse again, reverse again, forward again, until you're in position.
Really friendly. So we just got welcomed by the harbor master, and unfortunately for now all the yachts are staying, but we can stay till 7 in the morning, and he took my phone number and he'll keep us updated. So maybe we can come back in after a little diving in the morning. We'll see how it goes. For now we're here, we're safe. It was a little bit stressful because we didn't practice this a lot, and after coming in he yelled from the pier here, drop the anchor and reverse into this spot here. I'm sure you could fit till 6 in the morning, till 7. So yeah, we had to improvise and drop the anchor and
reverse in a boat which doesn't reverse.
In a boat that doesn't reverse. Thank you, that's it. But we're here. We'll go on the back cleat and then to this one. It's a spring.
Spring it!
Spring roll.
This is the cutest little town.
I'm so stoked to be here. We are heading out for dinner tonight and to check out town, and so I will bring the camera with me so you can see a little bit of Ustica. Hi! Ready to go out and explore the town? Yes, so precisely. Mitchell's ready. He's got his going out bag with him.
A man person.
We were instantly in love with this place. The tiny harbor, town built on a cliff, and impressive landscape. We marveled as we walked around, growing more and more convinced that we had just found Mediterranean paradise.
Boats.
Breakfast.
We found a trattoria and sat down on the street to eat a good meal and watch the town passing by. Hey, my seafood loving amore.
The sailor's dream.
Well, your dream anyway.
The Kraken. I love this. I love seafood. And what did you get?
I got swordfish with almond pieces. And so much lemon. I'm so excited about this.
This is quite the lemon.
Yes.
Buon appetito.
Grazie mille, amore. The next morning we woke up at 6 since we had to leave the harbor by 7. Aladino and I decided to go get breakfast at Bar Centrale, which we had noticed the night before. How is it, my darling?
You could get used to this. So it looks like a plain bun, but it's completely stuffed with warm ricotta mix. They made it sweet.
You look so funny. You've got icing sugar everywhere. Oh, my love.
And chocolate.
Oh, wow. Our goal for the day was to explore the entire island of Ustica. We wanted to see what life is like there. I spent so long in my teens fantasizing about Mediterranean paradise that I wanted to perhaps revel in the joy of seeing imagination come to life. We left the harbor at 7 as promised and floated around for a bit, waiting to see if some other boats left so we could return. We are heading back to the harbor.
Back to the harbor. 2 boats left. Domenico, the harbor master, called us to inform us that there is a spot free for us again, so we're headed back in.
We are now going to rent scooters and drive around the island. Aladino does not have a driver's license, so I have to drive. I'm a little bit nervous, but we shall get this together. A man at the port had some Vespas for rent, so we grabbed 2 of them and set off on our island tour. And I'll be honest, the first few moments were very, very shaky. In fact, I was probably a perfect example for all the local Usticans watching me nervously navigating a turn to mutter under their breath, "See, that's why we shouldn't let tourists drive these things." Eventually, I got the hang of it, but it did take some time.
Yeah.
Can you say this is okay?
Yeah.
We visited the graveyard, a quiet place drenched in sunlight. We visited the ocean, a gorgeous blue lapping against volcanic rocks. We drove along roads that hugged the cliffs and past fields where locals grew food. Cacti grew in large bushes by the side of the road, and cobblestones turned our insides to jelly as we bounced over them. And then, the big adventure. In the middle of the island is a large hill, and on top of that large hill is what looked like a huge telescope dome. Our mission? To reach the dome. We started along a path that made the previous cobblestone feel like a freshly paved freeway. Sometimes the Vespas would get stuck, and the boys would jump off and would continue along the way. Eventually, we had to park the Vespas and continue on foot up a lovely shaded trail, where we even found fresh pine nuts.
Hey, look what we found! So this is the Mediterranean pine tree, and from the Mediterranean pine tree you'll get the pine. So this is a pine, right? Am I correct? And then when you crush it a bit, inside are the little nutshells of the pine nuts. They are in between here. And those are the Italian world famous pinoli. You make pesto with it, and you put it into everything that turns out to be delicious. A little Italy 101.
They're all dead though.
Whack it in the head. Oh, empty!
Yeah, well they're dried up.
Ooh.
Yeah,
The other one was a fresh one.
When we reached the supposed telescope dome, we realized we weren't exactly welcome guests. A large fence, lots of barbed wire, and signs that said if we tried to trespass then the police could shoot us, welcomed us to the top of the hill. However, we walked around the perimeter and still got a lovely view of the island. And soon, it was time to walk back down and find our Vespas and return them for the evening. After a full day of exploring Ustica, driving the Vespas along the seaside road, I have to admit, this does live up to my imaginations of what Mediterranean paradise could be like. And I almost forgot. I promised to tell you about the Ustican massacre. Here's the story. So when I was doing research to make this episode about Ustica, I just googled Ustica to see what kind of history, etc. I could find, and when you put Ustica into Google search, the first few things that pop up are all about something called the Ustica massacre. So I started reading about that, and it turns out that it's this old aviation mystery which still hasn't been solved. And I wrote down a quick thing about it to read to you just so I got all the facts straight. So, the Ustica massacre was a plane crash in 1980 that killed all 81 people on board. The plane was en route from Bologna, am I saying that right, Dini? Bologna to Palermo, where it crashed into the sea near Ustica. But the mystery of exactly what happened has never been solved, even though there are countless theories and a long list of accusations by high-ranking officials. A popular hypothesis that was voiced by a former Italian president is that the plane was brought down by a French missile, but a 1994 report showed that wasn't the case. In 2013, so this is quite a bit after that the mystery's been going on, Italy's Supreme Court ruled that there was abundant evidence that the plane was brought down by a missile. Then yet another investigation showed that missiles definitely weren't involved, and that instead it would look like it was an explosion on board. David Learmount of Flight International magazine is quoted as saying, "I'm sorry, but Italy is a dreadful place to have an aviation accident. If you want the truth, you're less likely to find it there than just about anywhere else in the world." And so how it happened and who made it happen is still unknown. There are a lot of conspiracy theories, no clear answer has ever been found, there appears to be quite a bit of high-level subterfuge, and the Ustica massacre is still an unsolved case. The only thing I can say about this is it's a pity that Ustica was dragged into this, because the plane never actually touched Ustica, it just went into the water nearby. So it's too bad it's called the Ustica massacre. When I first saw that phrase on Google, the Ustica massacre, I was like, oh my gosh, Ustica must have a very dark past, but in reality, Ustica is not very involved with this whole story. Thank you so much for watching. Join us next week as we finally make it to Sicily. And, as always, thank you so much to our patrons for making all of this possible. We are grateful for you every single day.